Hello everyone, it's the Farmsim guy here, hope you're all doing well. Now there has been a lot of talk about joysticks over the last week and how they can help you when you're doing your forestry work. So I thought I would do a little bit of a video now to show you how I've set up my joystick in game. Now this isn't going to be right for everybody. If you have two joysticks, the setup will be different again, and also a lot of this boils down to personal preference. But a joystick is going to help you a lot when it comes to forestry. Hands down, it just makes it a lot more natural and feels much better. Now, as you can see, I have got a webcam set up with my joystick here. I am running the Thrustmaster T.16000M FCS joystick. Very popular joystick and I would say sensibly priced. Now, you can get these in pairs. I do have two. However, I have only got one set up at the moment. Now this video is going to be a single joystick setup, purely because the way my system is set up at the moment, I don't have the space for two. That will change in the future, and I will reintroduce a second one, and who knows, if somebody else hasn't beat me to it, I will do a video for dual joysticks then. Now the aim of this one is to show you pretty much the simplest way that I found to set up a joystick using the base game controls, and something that works for me. Like I said, it's not going to be for everybody, but this works for me. So if you want just a baseline to start from, maybe you've just bought your joystick and this is your first time setting up, maybe this video will help you out. So first and foremost, let's go and look at what we've got available to us on the joystick. And if I jump to this slightly bigger camera here, you can see what we've got. Now, this joystick is very, very controllable. We have got two buttons either side at the top here, plus a third button here. We also have this small thumb joystick here, which allows you to control things in all four directions. We've also got the trigger on the front here, and then, of course, you've got your forward, backwards, left, and right movement. Now, you also have with this rotation, right and left as well. So I have managed to set this up to pretty much cover all of the main controls of the arm on some of the logging equipment. Now, if you had a second joystick, you'd start to look at movement as well, but we've got it all on one joystick at the moment. So let's jump in and I'll show you how we set it up. So we're in the Hannibal here. Now, there are two key settings that you may want to switch off before you start. So let's go into the menu and just have a look at those. Now, the first one you want is in your general settings here, and let's scroll down to it. And it is Wood Harvester Automatic Cutting off. Now, the reason you want that off is because when you cut a tree, it will automatically start to strip it. And I have already flipped a couple of excavators already, as some of you may have seen on my streams. So better to have that off, which means you tap your X button once to cut the tree, and then you tap it again when you're ready, and it will start stripping that tree and cutting it to the appropriate length. So make sure that is turned off. The second one, if you scroll up slightly, is Easy Arm Controls. I've got it on at the moment, but we want to turn that off, and we'll come back to that in a little while. So let's turn that off, and then let's go back to the game. Right, we are back at our vehicle, and let me show you some of the controls that I have got set up at the moment. So, if I want to rotate my vehicle left and right, I do that by twisting my joystick. If I lower it down or point it forward, I raise and lower the main arm, like so. Let me roll backwards slightly. Now if I move it to the left, it pulls the second arm in. If I move it to the right, pushes the second arm forward. Let's get that into a decent position. The left and right buttons here open and close the grab if we were using a grab, so we'll jump into a different vehicle in a little minute just to show you all the controls. But if I use the joystick at the top here and move it left and right, that rotates the cutter head for me, like so. And if I push it forward, it rotates it forward, and if I pull it back, it rotates it back. Right, now let's get ourselves lined up with this tree and roll forward and get ourselves into a decent position. Like I said, I've got no guides at the moment, so you have to do it by eye. When I'm in position like so, let's just spin the mouse around so you can see it from this angle. I need to align myself to the tree slightly, so let's roll up to it. Let's do some subtle movements. Find ourselves the position. We are around the tree now. Now what I want to do is just tap this button. I don't want to hold it down because it will start to strip the tree as well. I just want to tap it to cut the tree. And there we go. We have our tree grabbed and we can lift it up. Now I can rotate. I can press V on my keyboard now to open this. Now I could, if I wanted to, align that to one of the buttons down here. I haven't done that yet. But again, as I play more and more, it might be the case that I do that. Now the tree, as you can see, is still stuck in the jaws. So if I push it forward slightly, like so, we can remove it from there. Now I can spin it around to here. Now I can press my X button again, and it will strip the first length. And press it again, cuts it, and again, one button, press to strip, and that was the end of the tree. But again, if I'd had a longer tree in there, I would have pressed the X button again to cut it. So there you go. Simple as that. And it works really, really well. So let's jump into the keybinds. And let me just show you how they're mapped so you know which keybind goes with which button or movement on the joystick. So in our menu, you want to go down to your controls here and you want to click on gamepad controls over here, and you want to scroll down all the way to crane. There we go. So there we go. Rotate, crane right is where they start, and they finish down the bottom here. And the only ones that I haven't set up are raise crane tool axis 3 and crane support legs 1 and 2. I haven't found a use for those yet within the current controls, so I will find them at some point depending on the vehicle. It will all be dependent on the vehicle, but at the moment, to get your way around the majority, if not all, of the new tools in the Platinum expansion, you just need the ones above. So like I said, this is my setup as I'm working on it at the moment. It may change over time, I may tweak it, but I'm pretty comfortable with it at the moment. So all you need to do here is make sure you've set these up correctly. Now I'm going to put a little crib sheet up on screen here now so you can see what I'm doing alongside the controller. But rotate crane right, you want to click on it and you rotate your joystick to the right. Rotate crane left, you rotate your joystick to the left. Raise crane arm, you're pulling the main joystick to the back. Lower crane arm, you're pushing the main joystick to the front. Now raise crane arm 2 is your joystick, your main joystick to the left. And lower crane arm is your main joystick to the right. Extend crane arm is your small thumb joypad on the top of the joystick, pushing that forwards, and retract crane arm is pulling that small joystick to the rear. Open crane tool is your right hand button on the top of the joystick. Close crane tool is your left hand button on the top of the joystick. And then rotate crane tool to the right is moving the small joystick on top of the joystick to the right, and rotate crane tool left is rotating it to the left. So that is all the controls. As you can see, I've numbered them 1 to 12. Now, there is one more setting I would like to show you, but it requires you to change it back to easy arm controls. Now, again, this is a personal preference thing. If you prefer to have the little green or the yellow ring around the tree that turns green when you're lined up, you can keep that on, but it does change the functionality of the arm slightly. So let me just jump in and show you that. So we're back in our general settings, easy arm controls. We're going to turn them on now, and we're going to go back to the game. Right, so here we are, back. Now, I want you to see what happens with the easy arm controls. Let's just say it starts to merge some of the movements that we've done without easy arm controls on together. So if I push the front forward, you'll see it starts to move the other arm as well. So it's basically combining some of the movements together. So it does potentially, if you like it like that, give you a little bit more control. It's again personal preference at the end of the day. But what it does mean you can do then is roll forward to your tree, and I've mapped this to the trigger here. And this is another setting that came with the Platinum expansion. And that is back in your keybinds. Go to your gamepad controls and scroll all the way down until you find Platinum expansion. Now all the way down here you have Align Harvester to target tree. And I have mapped that to the trigger on the front of my joystick. So let's go back to the game and I'll show you that working. So here we are, but now for me to align to the tree, I just press and hold until it's in position, and then I press my cut button. But now if I pull back, you will see it's also lifting things as well. So a slightly different way. I'm sure if you played it long enough you would get used to it. Personally, I'm not a fan. I like the alignment, but I don't like the way that it moves both arms at once. So, a little bit of a trade-off there for me. Right, I'm going to release this log. This one's fallen straight away. We didn't have to tilt forward there. But as you can see, it's doing its job. So, again, press to strip. When it reaches its desired length, it will hold it until I press it again. And again, this tree's not long enough to do more than one cut. But there we go. Done. So now you've set those up on your excavator type vehicles, you might be wondering, well, what happens with the other stuff? Well, believe it or not, most of them work pretty much out of the box. So there we go. To raise and lower our blade on the front of the John Deere, we're just doing a left and right on the main joystick. If we want to lower our grapple at the back and lift our grapple at the back, we can do that. If we want to rotate it left and right, it pulls it in and out. So slightly different settings. But again, I think a lot of this will come from just playing and using muscle memory. To open it, we've not seen these ones yet, but the left and the right mouse buttons here, I have it set to right to open and left to close as well. And then again, we can rotate using our small stick on the very top of the joystick there. So, very easy. Good fun, that. And with the high lift, the same rules apply. Left and right for up and down, backwards and forwards, rotate, right and left, open the jaws, close the jaws. It's as simple as that. So, there we go, folks. I hope you found that useful. Like I said, this is very much personal preference, but maybe you could use this as a baseline and then tweak it to your own personal preference as time goes on. And again, like I said, this is with one joystick. A lot of people have one joystick. Maybe you want to just invest in one joystick. You may be not really committed to going for two joysticks. You know, who knows? Logging, you might fall out with it after a couple of months, so you don't want to spend too much money on it. But I can get it to work pretty well with one joystick, as you can see here, and those are my settings. If you like them, I'm actually going to put a little PDF crib sheet as well to download underneath, so you can pin it on your wall if it helps you setting things up. But for now, from me, that is a little bit of joystick tutorial for the new expansion. I hope you liked it. Thank you very much for watching, as always, and I'll see you again very soon. Take care. Bye for now.